Hello everyone, my name is Tiffany. I'm the Tipsy Artist. Today we are painting a very cute little sea turtle. And this is a special project. We're going to actually be doing this on a wine glass. So let me give you a little visual of that too. So it comes in this like a little plastic bag here. And it's a really nice size. And it is non-breakable. And I just love these. They're very substantial and you can paint all over the surface area. This is acrylic paint on the outside, so we do recommend very gentle hand washing. Or what I really recommend is this is an art piece and you just place on yourself to enjoy. So, but it can be carefully hand washed. So that's the example of the wine glass. And then again, this is a look at the art. And we have some line art for y'all to go ahead and do a transfer to the wine glass. You can play with these elements. And then we're going to switch camera views here so that you can get a better look at that process. So we're going to do an overhead view so you can see me do this step by step. And all the supplies that you need are included in a really nice painting kit that comes to you with everything that you need, even including little tape, scissors, pants for paper, all the line art, brushes, everything, just everything you can think of. So the only thing you have to get is water. Where's my water? I'll make sure I've got it. Here it is. All right, so got my water. Now we're all set. Almost got caught unprepared. I knew I put it somewhere. All right, so here we go. We're gonna switch camera views. And again, thank you so much for joining me. And let's see here. Let's go to this one. All right. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about our supplies here. I've got my tape, scissors, my wine glass. We've got, this is the inspiration that we have. This also comes with the kit, so you've got that to look at. Got our water nearby. Let's move that over here. You'll have paint. Isn't that lovely? Let me get that in view. And then we'll paint plates. But the first thing that we're going to have to do, oh, I didn't talk about this, brushes, pencils, Sharpie, all that stuff. Okay. So the first thing we need to do is actually get this transferred to the wine glass. Now you can freehand this if you want to, and just use this as an inspiration. But if that really scares you, then of course, this line art is here for you. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to go ahead and pick this. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cut out the little elements that I want. That. Little optional starfish. I don't think I had that in the original design, but I saw it and I thought, you know what? That's super cute. You can drink that. And then I'm going to go ahead and start to place these down. I can spread these out so that I can cut around these. But dull gray side faces up, because this is the part that we'll need to transfer. So I'll take this tape. And top and bottom, just make sure that that is secured in place. Wonderful. Okay, now we're going to cut out these pieces separately. It's just easier to place and manipulate that way. I'm careful to cut around the tape to make sure that I don't lose that connection between the line art and the transfer paper. I want to make sure that it stays secured on there. All right. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to just do these one at a time. And I'm going to go ahead and place it on the wine glass here. And we're going to have to tape this to the surface too. And normally I say, when you watch me trace many other things, I usually like to have you leave it loose to where you can check your work. It's a little hard to do the wine glass that way. So we just need to go ahead and secure it on all four sides. And then I'll just try to, since this is a clear object, I'll just try to check it as best I can from the opposite side. All right, so we've got really good surface coverage there. And then again, you don't have to use all these. So this can be an optional thing. The one I have in the actual artwork online is really just this piece and this piece here. All right. Now let's do one more here. Oh. Gotta get it out of the way so that I'm not overlapping anything. And another helpful hint when making sure that you do get a transfer and everything, we're going to use our pencil, the graphite, to do that with. So you'll actually be able to see the graphite that led over the top of this surface. There'll be a little bit of a sheen to it to make it easy to discern over the top. So I'm going to go ahead and start this process. And you don't have to do all the details. There's a lot of little tiny details in here. We're going to be painting over that anyway. I'm just trying to get the main heavy lines for the shapes that are the most important that we'll be painting into. I think I did that. Okay. This pattern, I think, is pretty important. I can turn on the camera view still. Put that on the belly. And then the back leg that comes out. With a little leg popping out. Again, this is a lot of extra detail. If you're a big overachiever, well, you just go for it. It's really not that necessary. We're going to be painting all over it anyway. So I do not recommend that, actually. Unless you just want extra practice. A lot of people are like, nope. No thanks, Tipsy. That's okay. Again, we just need the basic shape here around that leg. Same with all this detail. We're going to just paint over that. So I do want to make sure and get in the nice little nuance of the mouth. He's got a cute little smile. I'm going to grab that. And I want the eye. That's important. So I'm kind of looking at that sheen I was telling you about. I'm going to check the back end. Of course, you can see where you've drawn on the back end too. It's a little hard to see through this camera view because there's so much glare from the glass. But from this back side, I can see the shape that I've drawn through here. So you can see if you're missing some spots. So that's helpful. All right, so we're good on that. Now I'm going to go ahead and do this starfish here. And you can draw over the tape. It'll feel resistant, but the pressure will make the transfer. And again, on this, we just want the main outline of it because we'll be painting into that interior shape. So any extra detail that you draw in will actually just be lost underneath paint. You can check it from the back, watch myself, make sure I got everything. Yep, tell me it through. Now I've got my coral reef here. I just want the main shape. This down. Little bubbles. Those are easily just put on with a brush technique here in a little bit, but nice to have a reference of where they go. A little shell here. Taking the back side. Looks good. Okay. This is a little leafy thing. I mean, I guess we could go ahead and do that. Go ahead and cut off the excess. When in Rome, might as well just do it. Like a little bit of seaweed. This is a fun project for me. I'm originally from Huntington Beach, California. So I have a lot of love for anything coastal. Right, those little lines are there, really not that important because again, that will just get painted over. All right, so now is the magic where we can see the transfer. You can see how this is what I was able to see on the other side in the glass. That was a bit hard to read, but that's what you can be able to see to know that you're on track and that you've done all the tracing that you need. Now, this is a little bit of a, okay, this is an oopsie on my part because I had tape in the way. So I would recommend, I'm doing all at once. It's a little time saver, but you get in a hurry and you make mistakes. So, oops. This is that do as I say, not as I do kind of a thing that I'm learning. So I missed a little bit of transfer there because the tape interrupted the line work. So hopefully I don't have that happening in too many other spots. Got the full turtle in, so that's awesome. I've got, I think that was the only new, I got some coral reef that got hit on that too. That's okay. Coral reef is pretty easy to freehand. But again, the lesson here is just do them all separately. And that way you know that your tape's not in the way of your line work. And that'll be the safest. So I don't know how visible that is in the camera. There's a lot of light that I have to have. But when you, of course, when it's right in front of you at home, you'll be able to see it. I'm like, I need that filming light, but I'm trying to think, you know, let me put a little bit of white behind it too. That may be part of the issue. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay. Let me get some white paper so that we can see that as we go. Filming equipment, gotta have it, but it's kind of a pain. All right, so look at that. That's pretty neat. Isn't that cool? So there's all kinds of really fun designs that you can do with the use of the line art and the transfer paper, a little bit of tape and scissors, and you're good to go. All right, so this is our model over here. And then we have our paint nearby. Okay, so we're going to start to work that in. I'm going to clear out, I'll do a little cleanup. Get some of this transfer paper out of the way. All right, so we've got our brushes nearby here. So with this kit, we're going to have my two cute little kiddos. We're gonna have Little Buddy. And I've also got this little Sharpie here too that you can use too. So I'm going to show you what this could potentially do for you to help you out. So let's just say we want to use this on our sea turtle here. You could actually use this to go around. You'd use this afterwards if you want to. It's very optional, but it does help darken it up a little bit. And I think it's a little bit more useful too if you have details at the very end of the process. Instead of trying to be very precise with a brush, you can use this as a little bit of a cheat for those extra details as well. But for right now, we're going to go ahead and just use the line work as is and go ahead and start to paint. All right, so to begin with, I'm going to go ahead and start with some of this wonderful primary cyan blue. Now I've been using these with different projects. So if this is a brand new kit, it's going to have a silver foil lining on top. You'll have to lift that off. I've already got some titanium white out nearby. I'm going to just do a little pea size amount here of the primary cyan blue. And then we're going to get ready for this little body in here too. And I'm going to do some Viridian. See, there's that silver foil liner that I was talking about that helps keep your paint fresh. And then also keep in mind, this is acrylic paint. It does set up and dry pretty quickly. So anytime we're done using a little bit of paint, you always want to make sure and close that cap back up. Very important. All right, let's also grab a little bit of some bright yellow green. All right, another little hole here. A little pea size amount. All right, we've got some beautiful colors to work with. And we're going to go ahead and start and place these off to the side since we're done with those for a little bit. Got our napkins. And then let's go ahead and start with our little bit brush. So I'm going to place it into the water, do a little twirl. That kind of gets that little point twirled out to a nice fine point. Now we're going to go ahead and do a little bit of mixing. We're going to mix a little bit of this white, titanium white, a little bit of the primary cyan blue, and then just a little touch of that Viridian. Almost makes like a really beautiful turquoise color. And a little bit more blue to that to make it a bit intensified, a little bit, darken it out just a little bit. All right, we're going to go ahead and start to paint into those little quadrants. So this just takes patience and a gentle hand. And if you find that you're scraping the paint off the surface, you want to just turn that handle more over to the side, parallel to the surface area. It's when you hold a brush like this that you dig into the paint more. So again, holding it out to the side gives you, again, a more gentle touch and allows you to keep that paint resting on the surface area here of the little wine glass in the sea turtle shape. We're bringing into all those little quadrants here. And I don't want to lose the line work here, so you could, I'm gonna grab a little bit more white here. I'm just gonna take that over the top and in the middle of those shapes as I go to keep that in place. I'm going to continue with the white just to make sure that those areas. Yeah, let's see if that helps a little bit. Just shifting the light just a little bit there. It's not just so direct over the design. I'm gonna go back into that blue now. And we're just gonna fill in. Almost looks like a little bit of patchwork. Reminds me of a patchwork quilt over the top of the sea turtle here. I'm filming. That was my honey bear. He likes to come into the room and say, "What?" And now you know what we do to have fun around here. And yeah, we're easily amused.
It is crazy down here. I say it used to be so warm up there.
It's okay, honey. I already told them you were in the room. Wow. Right, that's a little top there. That's a little shell. All right, so that's looking really cute. And then we have a little bit more blue here for the underbelly. And then a little bit more of that darker blue for this little part underneath here too. I'm going to rinse out because we're going to start to place in that lighter green. So we have that bright yellow green there. Now I'm going to add a little touch of the Viridian to it. And we're just going to go ahead and paint into the little leg. And that one. And this one. And remember too, if you are struggling with a little bit of transparency, keep in mind there's always just a second coat too that you can do. And there's nothing wrong with coming back in with a second coat. Actually take a little bit of blue and take it around this leg. Just to define that a little bit. Rinse out and come back into that bright yellow green with a little touch of Viridian again. Again, just this front leg here. We've got the neck. And I'm going to work very carefully around that eye shape. Cute little smile. My sweetie pie. Still carefully working around that as well. It's looking so cute. Okay, now let's rinse out. I keep it laying down, but I'm afraid it would roll onto the wet paint. So we're going to just stand it up for just a second. And let's go ahead and take a little bit of Mars Black. This is my sweet puppy dog. I recommend it here. Tapping around. Mars Black. I'm going to use this for the eye. I rinse out a little bit. I have a little doggy door right by where I paint, so sometimes people get to interact with my puppy a lot. All right, so here's a little bit again, and I'm going to do a little twirl here into this paint. This is the Mars Black. So I twirled into it, and that gives me a nice fine point. And I can use this to carefully go into the eye. And the eye shape basically looks like you make a parentheses. Show you on my neck, a parentheses and then a parentheses. And then you paint into that. It's a lot tinier here, so a twirl. There's that first little parentheses. And then another little parentheses underneath. And then I fill that in. And then I can also do that cute little smile right here. Just little. See? Oh, isn't that cute? All right, rinse out. Dry off. Now we're going to do a little trick. The reflective light in the eye, a little tiny touch on the end of the brush. We're going to take this end of the brush a little bit. We're going to barely touch into that white paint. See, it's a teeny tiny amount. And then we're just going to barely touch down on top. A little bit goes a long way. That gives that little bit of personality. You can do a little bit of it. You touch down a little bit more. It gets a bigger white dot. It's a little flash point in the eye. It's very sweet. All right, and then that technique is also really fun for doing the little spots. So we're going to take our little bit brush and that blue. We're going to go ahead and dip into that. And we're going to start to kind of dot out those little dots that happen on the legs. So see, isn't that easy? You thought you were gonna have to paint all those, and instead you get to just dot them out. That's lovely. I love that. This is another reason why in the trace it became not necessary at all to really have those on there. So cute. And this one, it's really just kind of around the perimeter, not so much in the center. So we're going to keep it along the edge here. Got a few up here. And you can use your pinky to kind of help brace a little bit too. Now, for those of you working at home, what I would recommend is just to, pause this recording, let it all set up and dry, and then come back in and work on your extra pieces so that you're not having to be too careful and not have an oops. I'm going to continue on and paint and just be very careful. So I'm just going to keep twisting and just, again, being very careful, hopefully. All right. So we're going to look at some of this coral reef next. I've got a lot of my pretty blue already loaded up, and I'm also going to gather some violet. And you can play with different colors in the coral reef too. It could be really beautiful with some primary magenta, which that mixed with some white could give you a beautiful hot pink. We're going to go ahead and show you this. Actually, you know what? I'm going to play with some primary. I love pink, so we're just going to go for it. A little bit of violet there. We're going to mix that with the white. And then I'm also going to grab some primary magenta. So it's very vibrant on its own to begin with, and then when you add a little white to it, it lightens up the pink, makes it real pretty. All right, so we're going to grab a little bit of white with our primary magenta. And this is really fun. I mean, it's just a little push into those little shapes and then a drag into the middle. I've got the white, primary magenta. And this is where I'm having to freehand a bit because I lost, if you remember, I lost my trace because I had some tape in the way, but you're going to learn from my mistakes and not do that. I believe in you. Right, a little bit of that coral reef there. Let's go and rinse out. Let's grab some white with our purple so you can see what that looks like. And it makes a lighter violet. And we're going to go back into that light pink again. And this is our coral reef. Really pretty. And then we're going to do a little bit of a seashell here. So we're going to grab some Cadmium Yellow. A little white with that. And again, to get nice opaque coverage over the surface area, just turn that handle more over to the side, just filling into that shape. Add a little bit more white. Pushing into the details underneath. And then as an accent to help define the lines, I'm actually going to come back in and do something with this primary magenta. So I'll have this kind of softly blend in. Okay, I'm going to grab a little bit more of that cadmium yellow and that white. Just softly blend over the top. A soft blend underneath. And then I'm going to do just a little bit of freehanding here too, just for fun. So we've got our bright yellow green over here and our Viridian. And you can always just pull up right next to the sea turtle and just kind of pull up into a point. Do some of those in there just for fun. To have those come up around, and it's really easy to freehand in these shapes. I'm just doing a little bit of a push, and then I drag up and then lift off with a light hand. All right, so again, a push, pressure, drag up, lift off with a light hand. All right, push, drag up, lift off with a light hand. All right, and those are just free-handed on, so that's really nice. Then rinse out. I'm going to grab some brighter yellow, primary yellow. And cadmium yellow. And we're going to go ahead and work into this starfish here. Definitely having a little bit of that transparency happening. I'm going to add a little bit of white to this too, and then really watch my handle to make sure I'm having a lot more of a delicate hand, holding that brush more over to the side. And again, this can also be remedied with a second coat as well. Okay, that's beautiful. Okay, we have more of that leafy green happening here with the seaweed. Let's reload a little bit with a bit more of our primary bright yellow green. Just a little bit more there. And we still have plenty of our Viridian over here too. So we'll just mix those two together. And as I'm pushing a little bit, wiggling, and then lifting up, lifting off with the light hand. This is that seaweed. If you want to be more exact with those endings, you can do a little push from here too, and then pull down into the shape. And then I'm going to add a few more of these little seaweed accents. We've got bright yellow green with a little bit of Viridian. Okay, do a few more on here. All right, we can also do some fun little dots on our starfish. So I'm going to use the primary magenta and a pure, just pure no mix. And so I'm just going to push this down, make those little dots. Take it through the center and out into the shape. That's cute. I love it. All right. I think we're done. Isn't that so cute? I love it. All right. So we have our cute little sea turtle here, and we add a little starfish, some seaweed, coral reef, cute little bright shell, some seaweed that kind of pops out all around that. I love it. Super cute. All right. You did a great job. So proud of y'all. All right. So this is our cute little sea turtle wine glass. And again, all the supplies that you need are on our website. That is tipsyartist.com. So I'll leave that link below for y'all. And y'all just have a beautiful rest of the day. And it's winter here where I'm at. So and this video will actually be up forever. So if it's winter where you're at, then stay warm with this. This will help. And if it's tropical and warm, then we're just going to feel right in season. All right. Have a beautiful rest of the day. Much love. Toodles.